The Wrestling Match. One day, when Ghanshyam was a young boy, he was playing with his friends on the bank of the river at Ramgarh, near Ayodhya. At that time, a group of famous wrestlers had come from Nepal. They were also on the edge of the river, practicing their wrestling. Ghanshyam and his friends watched them, admiring their rippling muscles and their strength. Then Ghanshyam had an idea. "Let's challenge them to a wrestling match," said Ghanshyam. But his friends were fearful. They were so small compared to the strong wrestlers. Then Ghanshyam used his powers and gave them all the strength and courage of elephants. Bravely they went up to the wrestlers and challenged them. The wrestlers laughed at them, but accepted the challenge. Confidently they stepped forward and began wrestling with the young boys. But Ghanshyam and his friends were filled with such strength that they dashed the wrestlers to the ground in no time at all. Many people saw this defeat of the wrestlers from Nepal, and soon the news spread all over Ayodhya. The three nephews of the king of Ayodhya, who themselves were expert wrestlers, also heard the news and became very jealous. They decided to challenge Ghanshyam to a wrestling match, and the king himself announced that he would give a prize to the winner. Soon the day of the wrestling match arrived. Hundreds of people were gathered around, and the king was sitting on his throne in front of the wrestling space. There was great excitement in the air. Ghanshyam stepped forward. Then into the circle stepped Bhimsang. He was the strongest and biggest of the three nephews. He looked fearsome and towered over the young Ghanshyam. He had strong iron chains fixed around his ankles. Stepping towards the crowd, he issued a challenge to anyone to try to pull him down by the chains. Many people tried, but no matter how hard they pulled on the chains, Bhimsang stood there, unmoving, as strong as a mountain. Then the wrestler turned to Ghanshyam, laughing, and challenged the little boy to try his luck. Ghanshyam bent down and picked up the chain. He looked so small against the giant Bhimsang. It seemed an impossible task. Ghanshyam just smiled at the giant wrestler. The strength of God is more than that of 1,000 elephants. For a moment, he paused with the iron chain in his hands. Then he gave a sudden pull on the chain, and Bhimsang came crashing to the ground. As he fell, the ground shook, and the iron chain broke into many pieces. The crowd cheered wildly to see the proud wrestler humbled. Bhimsang looked shocked and shamed. He couldn't believe what had happened. Then Ghanshyam picked up another iron chain, and fixing it around his ankles, he challenged Bhimsang to try to topple him. Bhimsang growled angrily. He rushed to the boy, and grabbing the chain, he gave a mighty tug. But Ghanshyam was unmoved. He stood there, firm as a rock. Bhimsang now became red with rage. Summoning up all his strength, he gave one more mighty pull. Suddenly, the chain snapped, and Bhimsang was flung against a tree and broke his arm. The crowd went wild with joy. There was now no doubt who was the stronger of the two. Bhimsang hung his head in shame at being beaten by the little boy, and nursing his broken arm, he left the ring. Ghanshyam smiled happily. Stepping forward, The king garlanded him with flowers and presented him with a fine shawl, and Ghanshyam turned toward the crowd as they clapped and cheered and praised him.